me. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, it's good to be with you. Jim Holly with you this afternoon. Of course, Kurt Russell is off today. And of course, I'm here, and it's in the hope that indeed that I'm doing at least doing a service that basically he would be proud of. I want to make sure that if somebody said, Jim, how did your show? Well, I want to make sure that he said, well, he did it. He would make me proud, and I want to do just that. What we're talking about here, my sister brother, is the President Trump's proposed cuts in the budget for 2019. I just want to let you, like, for example, in the Labor Department, understand when you talk about labor, and you're cutting funds from dislocated worker grants. You're talking about streaking funds for adult employment and training activities. You're talking about streaking funds for apprenticeships that basically is under the Labor Department. If you talk about the trying to find the HUD department, I wanted to give you the kind of things that basically is they're eliminating 1.9 billion funds in public housing of capital. In other words, if you got senior citizens who really need the roof repaired, they need the flooring or furnace or something like that. They have cut that. They're eliminating reducing four federal housing subsidiaries. It goes on and on and on. And I could go, and I'm just saying to you is somehow, some kind of way, it would seem to me that the Black Caucus and the leadership should be engaging the president and getting in his face in terms of what's going on here. And we talk about the fact that the struggle. There's nothing you can't see without the struggle. You can't really if you don't really agitate. You can't really how it goes and all. I'm just saying to you, my sisters and brothers, somehow, some kind of way, when we see that our Black Caucus and our representatives are basically talking about resisting. We don't want to be in this space. We don't want to do this. We don't. But at the same time, the Maxine Waters and the John Elders, they got a house, they got a job, they got money coming in. What about a lot of us, many of us, that they're representing here, and you're talking about you don't recognize him, and he's still in the White House. This is his second year, and if I be here another year, most likely it'll be the third year. And we're talking about the fact that we're not going to recognize him. Now, the guy that we don't recognize is killing us. He's hurting us. And somehow, some kind of way, we have to recognize that our willingness not to recognize is hurting a lot of people. Let's see if I can talk to Terrence. Terrence, let me see what you Terrence, thank you so much for calling. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Just fine. Thank you for calling.
You know what? I'm sitting up here, and I just got back in my car. You know what I'm saying? And I heard the conversation earlier on another show, same station. Now you're saying that they're talking about cutting all these social programs and things affecting seniors and job training, man, and housing vouchers and so forth. This right here levels on insanity. It really does. It's right there on the same sense, in the same sense as insanity. Because the thing about it is, people are going to eat, they're going to sleep, and they're going to get medical treatment some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And they're going to pay either way it goes. This man has made a mockery of the position that he holds.
Mm-hmm.
How can you cut all of these social programs for economically disadvantaged individuals? There are some people who are hurting in this country who don't have the education or mentality to be better, right?
Right.
So How can you think to even do such a thing? Now, able-bodied individuals who can get out there and work and who do get food stamps. Now, I do agree that they should put in some type of community service, maybe clean the neighborhood up or do things like that, one of abandoned homes. Those who are capable, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But individuals who have disabilities and can't help themselves, why would you do these things to these people, man? It levels on insanity. And what's going to happen is these people are going to start going around here rioting, looting, and doing all kind of crazy things because people are going to eat and they're going to sleep. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to listen to your response.
Okay, very good. And I thank you for the call, of course. Let me get this in here before I forget, because they understand they're seeking more than $3 billion. That's what the B from the Education Department. Let me just say this to you: the document that I have here it indicates that they are cutting $3 billion. That's what the B from the Education Department, while investing $1.6 billion to support private schools vouchers and choose and schools of choice. And I mean, and you mean tell me that's not enough to get in this guy's face? That's not enough to basically, I mean, you would think that the unions, the teachers' unions and all this kind of stuff, we ought to be in his face. I remember when the governor was cutting the children's vouchers so they couldn't get any clothing or something like that. And I remember that I can't name the organization, but Mrs. Taylor's organization, and we had a march. And you would think the people that was being cut off would be marching around the state building. And you got 15 or 20 people walking around the state building. And if I'm one of them, I'm not. My kids are not being cut off. They're kids, and so it seems like we're not even interested in struggling for ourselves. We don't seem like that we don't let. I mean, somebody's ready to cut your food, cut your children's clothing allowance, cut your food stamps and all. And you mean tell me if we call a march and a demonstration, and you can't, those of you who are getting cut can't come out and demonstrate? I mean, and so I'm just saying to you is you got this guy that basically, I'm telling you, you got to look and see these proposals, these cuts that he's making, and everything that basically that the Obama administration has done. He's undone. And I mean, he said it. I mean, let me put this. I mean, the Homeland Security. He's adding $2.2 billion for Secret Service, adding $77 billion for new technology for Transportation Service Administration, $2.8 billion to increase immigration detention, $782 million to hire and support 2,700 additional law enforcers. I mean, I'm just saying to you where does that money come from? It comes from taking it away from the least of these. And so if you're a Black Caucus, and if you the NAACP and National Network and SCLC and every other alphabet that we have, we ought to be in this guy's face. If there was a time for the Minister Farrakhan to have a march of 5 million, it ought to be now. You just can't sit there and let people just do something to you. I mean, when we on the plantation, was sometimes you almost had to put the gun to somebody else's head to get them to leave. And I'm just telling you, this mentality that we just feel like that we're going to go along to get along and think going along, getting along is going to be all right for us. It's ludicrous. It's just ludicrous. Let's go to the phones. I think it's Dee's on the phone here. Dee, are you there?
Yes, I am. I hear and feel your pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing that during the campaign, this individual, number 45, I refuse to say his name to give him credence. This individual came to Flint, Michigan to have a photo op when his mini-me by the name of Snyder had already poisoned hundreds of thousands of people to the effect that we don't know how generational the effects of these poisons will be. And at the time when he came to Flint, 15 people had already died from Legionella disease as it relates to the water. The only thing that they did was come and take a photo op. It didn't say anything about any kind of monies that he would possibly bring in if elected at that particular period of time.
Right.
Point number two, I got one more point and then I'm out of here. Point number two is all of those stats that you just got through reading, those things are very, very pertinent because I don't think that the public really knows, the power and the number, the vast numbers that these stats represent, while at the same time the Congress and the Senate along with them signed a $1.5 trillion reform. So they're steady taking in one hand, getting what they want in the other hand, and make no mistake about it. Let me make myself perfectly clear. The House and the Senate, which is Republican dominated, are rubber stamping everything that this dictator is doing. And yes, I said dictator.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, my friend. Al, you're in touch. How are you this morning? Al, you're on this Cliff Office, Cliff Russell Show.
Yes.
Yes.
Reverend Harley, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
The big brouhaha that is going on about it is inevitable from my perspective. So I came up to a particular position, and I thought that yourself, Reverend Harley, being among the gatekeepers, myself, I believe the gatekeepers throughout this country and the world, they are the true leaders. So my recommendation would be that you call a summit of these leaders from all over this country and perform what they call, there's a company called, I believe it's called DAN4. Whenever a catastrophe happens in this country, DAN4 goes as triage, and they stop the bleeding at this particular perspective. So I understand that the $300 billion is going to come over a period of 10 years. So that would be $3 billion per year. So at this particular summit, I'm of the perspective that you do not beg, borrow, and steal for people to take care of you. You take care of yourself to the best of your ability. So if you divide that $3 billion over 10 years, that means, the $300 billion over 10 years, that would be $3 billion per year for 10 years. And then divide it